It's starting well at 14,738, not yet conquering 53. And the Sensex as well is more like 50,100.
158 points on the Nifty. We're at 14,804. Market is doing well. 200 points on the Nifty.
Well, the market has hit another fresh intraday record high today.
The mid-cap index was equally strong with a gain of about 1.5%.
The bull charge continues. All indices notch up new highs. Market veteran Shankar Sharma says the current rally is just getting started and there's a long way to go.
The pharma index is the best performing, gaining over 2.5% today. Dr. Reddy's rallies 3% after Lancet, the medical journal, indicates a 91.6% FEs also soar on strong third quarter performance.
Second-tier banks and financials take the lead, with top-tier banks taking a breather. IndusInd Bank, PNB and RBL rise between 5 and 8%.
Bharti Airtel reports a 850 crore profit, consolidated profit in the third quarter compared to a loss of 763 crores in Q2. Average revenues per user has also jumped 23% to hit 166 rupees. Meanwhile, Jubilant Food and Ramco Cements disappoint the street.
And Tata Consumer shares soar after the company reports a 23% revenue growth in the third quarter. Managing Director Sunil D'Souza tells CNBC TV18 the acquisition of packed food brand Soulful is EPS accretive and the brand's sales will be scaled up rapidly. D'Souza sees continued strong double-digit revenue growth. Well, those were the top 5 headlines from Dalal Street on a day when the bulls continued to rampage. Welcome to Markets Today, the show where we will tell you everything that happened in those 6 hours of trading in just 5 headlines. I'm Lata Venkatesh. With me, my colleague Prashant Nair. Hi, Prashant.
Lata, hi. Unstoppable rally. And, we thought the day of the budget was spectacular. Then there was Tuesday, which was spectacular. And today, another 136 odd points. It's a new high. And that 21st Jan high of 14,753 is all but in the dust now. So we're talking about newer levels. Lots to talk about here over the next 30 minutes. Lots of important opinion. We'll hear from Atul Suri, CEO at Marathon Trends. Someone who tracks charts, not just local, but global as well. This is a global move. Shankar Sharma, Vice Chairman and Joint Managing Director, First Global, says, well, we are just getting warmed up as far as this rally goes. And Rhythm Desai of Morgan Stanley, of course, is the big institutional voice talking about how this could be similar to the 2003-2007 rally. In corporate opinion, Sunil D'Souza, Managing Director and CEO at Tata Consumer, who outlines the company's growth plans going forward. Before we get to the opinion, as always, let's spend 2 minutes looking at the day itself. Lata.
We have such good opinion lined up for you. I just wanted to say a couple of sentences. The handover from Wall Street and Asia was reasonably in the green, and the budget bonhomie is also continuing. It's not anymore a relief that there are no taxes. There is also positivity, especially for the banking stocks, where the hope is that bad assets will be cleaned out, fresh capital will come into via recapitalization, and of course the privatization, vetting of the appetite is also there. So all that is moving the financials, and the bond markets, after sulking for 2 days, today actually saw some bit of gains that also helped the NBFC stocks, which had not quite participated in the rally. So good all over everywhere. The wellness stocks were ignored for some time because you wanted to go with the economy-facing stocks. Today, they took the baton. That's what's been happening. There is a relay race, and each day, a couple of sectors come to take the leadership. Today, after a gap of about a couple of weeks, pharma came and performed like it hasn't done in the past 2 weeks. But I leave that to you, all those detailed sectoral performance.
Yes, so I'm just going to list out the gains today, Lata, because advance decline was overwhelmingly positive. So sectors which did the best, the CPSE index was up the most. The pharmaceutical index, which we outlined and we will talk about, 2 3/4 higher. The PSU bank index up 2.6. Energy, metals, private bank. I mean, actually very, very little was down. Sectorally speaking, at least. Okay, Nifty gains in IndusInd was one of the big gainers, was up 11% at one point. but gave off some 40-50 rupees from the day's high. Power Grid was up 6 1/3%. Divi's Laboratories 3 3/4. Coal India, Dr. Reddy's had been correcting quite a bit. Over the last 5-6 days post the results disappointment. So it was up. There was Cipla, Hero MotoCorp, IOC and NTPC, which were the large Nifty gains. The broader gains coming through in, names like PNB, RBL Bank. You want to look at the second tier NBFC names, apart from the Bajaj Finances of the world, Shriram Transport, Chola Finance, M&M Finance. This is a broad move. Something like an M&M Finance, numbers disappointed, the market doesn't seem to care. It's just like a basket trade out there, which is playing out. Okay, the outside of financials in that space, what did well? Lots. PI Industries was up 9%. Venky's was up 6%. NCC, a construction company, 13% higher. Astral Poly, Bajaj Consumer was up 20%. C8 was up 9%. C8 is at a new high, of course. Deepak Nitrite, it kind of flew up. Jubilant Limited, L&T Infotech, IIFL, IPCA, Shriram City, Metropolis, Sequent, Persistent, and I could go on, but I think you get the idea. It was a broad-based, across the sector move. Lata.
Fair point. Well, let's hand it over now to the experts. We spoke to several of them. First up, Atul Suri, the CEO of Marathon Trends PMS, who watches the charts very closely, speaks about how he was positively surprised by the moves. Shankar Sharma of First Global and Rhythm Desai of Morgan Stanley also speak to us about this ongoing rally. Both say that the rally has a long way to go. Listen in.
Kind of corporate numbers that are coming, which have really been positively surprising. I'm so used to quarter after quarter here, miss downgrades. It's almost, I think, 2 years. And this is the first time after 2 years where you are coming and you're showing that things are getting upgraded. And most or many companies are actually surpassing estimates. So that, I think, is the second big trigger at the micro level. Very interestingly, what I am seeing is almost decadal shifts that are happening. I just spoke about the EM, which is just crossed the 2008 top. So it's a decadal move, a decade of underperformance relative to developed markets, especially the US, is getting rectified.
Let's not start thinking that markets have rallied a lot in the last 1 week or last 2 or 3 days, and that's enough. I think we are just getting warmed up here because the levels were very low. They're just beginning to rise, right? Bond yields in India, which I don't recollect precisely, but I think they were more in the high single digits in 2003-04. By the time 2004 or 5 came in, their bond yields had fallen to, I think, 4% or 5, maybe around 5%. And when you have that kind of a fall in your benchmark interest rates, whatever market you're talking about, you will have an automatic expansion of market multiples. It's just a seesaw. Low interest rates will expand the PE multiples. Therefore, today your bond yields are around the same as what they were back in 2004. So that's the point, that when bond yields have collapsed 50% or so in the last few years, just as they did back in 2003-04,
it's certainly not like the 91-92 bull market. Prior bull markets like the one in 84-85 was also very different. So in terms of mega bull markets, there have been these 3 big bull markets in Indian history. This one probably compares more with the 03-07 phase.
Okay, so that's some really big market opinion there, and sounding bullish that this is essentially, this has got the potential, what we're seeing right now, to transform into something bigger, which could have a runway ahead. Let's move on to the second headline now. Pharma stocks saw healthy gains with the index rallying over 2.5%. Dr. Reddy's soared after Lancet, the medical journal, indicated a 91.6% efficacy of the Sputnik vaccine. Ajanta Pharma, Neuren Laboratories gained on strong third quarter results. My colleague Ekta Batra is here with the details. Ekta.
Well, I'll start with Dr. Reddy's, which was in focus because data indicated that the COVID-19 vaccine Sputnik has 91.4% efficacy. This particular data was published in the medical journal Lancet. Remember that this is a positive read-through for Dr. Reddy's because they are conducting phase 3 trials of Sputnik in India. Ajanta buzzing on account of numbers, revenue up 15%, margins 32.3%, profit up 64%. India was strong with 13% growth, emerging markets up 19%. Brokerage is positive. Edelweiss, for example, maintains a buy call, revised target price of 2,040 rupees. Q3 being a normal quarter sets a template for growth. Newland Labs revenue up 20%, EBITDA up 65% and profit at 26.7 crores. According to the management, 15 to 20% growth over the next 3 to 5 years is a reasonable assumption as well. So buzzing on account of numbers. Lastly, Jubilant Life in focus because it's going to trade its life sciences ingredients business tomorrow. So the residual business will only be the pharmaceutical business. The demerged life sciences business will be relisted on the exchanges at a later date with a mirrored shareholding.
Ekta, thanks very much for that. The next headline, second-tier banks and financials took the lead in trade today with top-tier banking and non-bank names taking a bit of a breather. So gains coming through, big gains coming through in names like IndusInd Bank, Punjab National Bank and RBL Bank, all rising anything between 5 and 8%. So broad move, Lata, and
this is the third consecutive day the banks are rising, so I have to invent excuses to find out why they are. But yes, the first day was occupied by the big banks, and then there was the HDFC Bank presentation to RBI and RBI appointing. So, appointing someone to watch over their IT architecture. So the first 2 days of the week were occupied by the big banks. And so now it looks like there's excess money that's coming in for the mid-cap banks. Well, they have the same things going for them, and ARC is going to be set up to clean up their bad assets. Many of the mid-cap PSU banks are going to get more capital, especially if 2 of them are privatized, then more capital is available for the remaining banks. And banks like Canara have already tapped the market. So, there's a lot of spring in the step. The government is going to do an InvIT of all its assets, asset monetization, so that creates space to invest in fresh investments. Now, that again means more business for the banks. No, none of these are new. We have been speaking about it from Monday when the budget was presented. All I can say is that after filling the cup for big banks, it's now overflowing, and the smaller banks, mid-cap banks and NBFCs are getting attention. Maybe one added factor today is the bond market sulked for 2 days because of the higher borrowing program. Today you saw the bond prices rising. Some short covering did come in, and that also could have been positive for the NBFCs because they would have been worried, where is this bond yield rise going to end? Okay, if it is 6.1, it's not too bad. We can take that. It's only a 20 basis point rise from the pre-budget levels. That also could have added to the cheer.
Absolutely. And of course, starting point in terms of valuations for names like IndusInd and RBL. RBL was under 1-time book compared to 3-4 times for ICICI, HDFC, etc. So, there was cheer there. Well, time for a quick break here. We will come back, so stay with us. More headlines, more important opinion, all lined up on the other side.
Welcome back. You're still with us on Markets Today, and we told you about 3 interesting stories from the markets. Here's the 4th one, and this is a cracker. The Bharti Airtel numbers. That stock itself ended over 1.5%, but this was ahead of the results. The results came post-market hours, and the company has reported an 850 crore profit in the 3rd quarter. That's big because it was a loss of 763 crore rupees in the 2nd quarter. Well, in a bit, we will get Reema Tendulkar to tell us the details of the Bharti numbers. If we don't have Reema, why don't we go ahead with the other numbers that came in? We also had the Jubilant numbers. Now, that was anything but Jubilant. The stock closed 2% lower. So let's first get Mangalam to tell us about the Jubilant results, and then in a bit, we'll give you more details about Bharti.
As far as Jubilant Foods numbers are concerned, they were largely in line, but the fact that the stock traded at around 67, 68 times FY22 earnings caused a reason for the stock to see a bit of a sell-off after in-line set of numbers. As far as the revenues are concerned, largely in line with street expectations of almost 1,070 odd crores. We did see the net profit come in at around 124 crore mark, which compares with our poll of 127 odd crores, as was the EBITDA, which came in at around 280 crores versus our poll of 290 crores. The important metric to watch out for Jubilant FoodWorks is the same store sales growth. That declined by about 1.7%. The street was working with a range of a 1% decline to about a 2% growth, which was still an improvement from last quarter's 20% decline and the quarter before that's 60% decline. The three positives in those numbers were: one, a big expansion that we saw in their gross margins on account of imposition of their delivery fees. The second big positive was them having opened 50 new Domino's stores. So that tells about the management's bullishness for demand going forward. And the third big positive is that they've reported January's numbers, and January's sales are higher by almost 6.5%, with nearly 3.4% in terms of Domino's same-store sales growth. So good numbers coming in line with expectations with a mild positive, but the stock saw a bit of a sell-off on account of high valuations.
Okay, so it was valuation, not so much disappointment. Mangalam, take your point. But I don't think there's anything disappointing about the Bharti results. Is there, Reema? Tell us the highlights.
Well, yes, the consolidated numbers are ahead of what the street was anticipating. The company's reported a profit after 6 quarters of a loss, and there is that exceptional. But even if you look at the operational metrics, is ahead of estimate. So a quick run through of the numbers: consolidated revenue growth at 5.8%, EBITDA margins at 45.9%, and the company's reported a net profit of 853 crores. The Africa numbers were known, they were a beat, and the India wireless numbers are also ahead of estimate. There is a rupee revenue growth of 6.8%. EBITDA has gone up by 9.6%. The average revenue per user for the company has gone up by 3%. In terms of subscriber addition, it's materially ahead of what Reliance Jio had reported, with this quarter Bharti adding 14.2 million subscribers versus 5.2 million for Reliance Jio. So the bottom line is boosted by an exceptional, but the operational numbers purely for the India mobile business, which we were tracking, are ahead of what the street was anticipating.
Reema, thanks very much. I mean, that's a big one, which essentially is going to show up in terms of stock price reaction when we come back to trade tomorrow. So that is Bharti, which is delivered in the third quarter. The other earnings came through from Ramco Cements. The stock fell 2% after the company's third quarter numbers missed expectations. The stock, by the way, has had a spectacular rally along with that pack. Nigel is here with the details on this one. Nigel.
Well, Ramco Cements had a run in the last couple of days, and valuation-wise, it's not very, very cheap. So the numbers had to be really, really good for the stock to see any kind of green in today's trading session. That wasn't the case. In fact, it missed our estimates by a good margin. In terms of the top line, it missed our estimates by close to around 100 crores approximately. The net profit missed our estimates by close to around 30 crores, as was the case with the EBITDA miss. The absolute EBITDA came in close to around 8% lower in comparison to our poll. The key point and the key factor that disappointed the street was in terms of their volumes. We were as is working with the degrowth, but the problem is that it degrew by a little bit more. So the volumes came at around 2.6 million tons. We were working with the number of around 2.7 million tons. And that's why on the top line, there was a growth of only around 5%. That's in terms of revenues, while in fact, we were bracing for a double-digit revenue growth. So a top-down miss is what we saw. In addition to that, the debt has gone up a little bit, but they have a lot of capacities that are coming on stream, so we'll have to track that. But for today, the stock ended down owing to a miss on their quarter 3 numbers.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Nigel. Had a slightly dampening effect on other cement stocks as well, this one. And now the most important headline that came from the consumer space came from Tata Consumer. That stock ended about 1% higher. It reported its Q3 revenue, which jumped 23%. But the sweetener was also an acquisition of that breakfast cereal company, Soulful. Mangalam is here to give us all the details.
Well, Tata Consumer reported a good set of numbers, 23% growth in the company's revenues. And we did see a bit of a pressure on the margins, the gross margins, on account of higher tea prices. But the company's cost savings as well as synergies actually reduced the EBITDA margin deceleration to just about 100 basis points. And as a result of which the net profits came largely in line with our expectations. But above everything else, what the street liked the most was the company's strategy to go ahead and acquire Soulful, the cereal maker, for about 156 odd crores. And the management commentary for the growth trajectory going forward was also rather impressive, and as a result of which, from the lows, the stock did see a fair amount of recovery.
Mangalam, thanks very much for that. We spoke with Sunil D'Souza, Managing Director and CEO of Tata Consumer, and he says the brand Soulful, which they've acquired, is EPS accretive and its sales will be scaled up rapidly. Listen in.
As you rightly said, great top line and bottom line delivery, India and international. India beverages, good volume growth, double digit, 46% revenue growth, a bit pressured by margins, but tea prices now starting to taper off. So we remain confident that with our execution in place, we will be delivering good results in the future. It operates only in about 14,000 outlets in small population areas right now. And given the fact that we have now expanded our reach and we've got 2.4 million outlets, we think we can scale it dramatically. The foods business, I think you will continue to see strong double-digit growths as we go ahead.
Okay, so that was the big man from the consumption space. We have to call it a day on markets today. But since we spoke to so many market greats, we are leaving you with some more advice from them. Atul Suri on real estate, Shankar Sharma on other sectors that he likes, and Rhythm Desai on the markets itself. Listen in.
The biggest dogs for almost a decade was real estate, PSU banks and metals. I mean, these sectors have not even taken out the 2008 top even today. But if you look at the sectorial performances in the last 3 months, these are by far the best performing sectors, almost giving you anything from 30 to 40% return. So what you are really seeing is a decadal shift that is happening even internally. The thing is that in case this decadal trend is changing, and these things, when they change, they don't change for a few months, few years, but for many years. And that, I feel, is going to be the key right now, is going to be the rotation, along with the cocktail of numbers that you are seeing, which have a lot of surprises positively.
I think that sector will not beat the market. It might be at best a market performing sector. And we want to be invested in sectors which we think will beat the market. And I think autos definitely again, very poor returns over the last several years, enough headroom created. I think that's a great place to be. Infrastructure is also a good place to be. It's been an orphaned sector after the 2008 crisis. Infrastructure stocks have been absolute dogs. I'm not saying that they're going to become great companies, because the nature of the business is, it's not a great business, right? But from where they are, I think you can only look for upside. There are no downsides there.
The best performing sector, I think this time around, could be consumer discretionary. So industrials will be a close second, or maybe right up there. But I think discretionary consumption will do extremely well, because India's income has changed. And there is a very big transformation happening in the consumption basket. Back then, which is almost 20 years ago, India was still consuming very basic stuff. Now we have started migrating out of that. Per capita income has grown. We're about $2,000. A large portion of the population is now above basic needs.